some of their stars, talking about the UST-GAMEVILLE Golden Spikers. What a treat for volleyball fans today as we create history here in the Big Dome. May Reyes, at your service, reporting courtside. Welcome to the first game and first day of our semifinals round. This is the Spikers Surf Invitational Conference for Power Meets Passion.
And welcome to the historic Smart Araneta Coliseum, the very first time that the Spikers Turf will be here. And why not? The semifinals is underway here for our conference, and nothing but the best for each and every one of you here for Spikers Turf. It's going to be an exciting encounter by all 6 teams here in the semifinals, and you can see our full slate there. It's SAVOUGE up against UST. That's our game right now. At 3 p.m., we've got Kinda University up against Pro Volley Academy. And at 5, it's Signal up against Crisscross. An exciting triple bill for each and every one of you. Anthony Star here together with Coach Ronnie Manzano. Coach, what a fitting way to start out the semifinals right here at the Big Dome.
Oh, definitely. This is a magical moment, a historical moment, of course, for the best possible avenue for men's volleyball. Imagine going to the mecca of Philippine sports here at the Big Dome. But first things first, it's all about settling the issue among the 6 remaining teams that will start out the semis phase. And remember, this is a total of 5 play dates, bannering 15 straight matches. And then we have a total of only 4 teams that will make it eventually to the Final Four.
Right now, let's talk about the tournament format. And at least you started talking about it already, and here come the balls our way. So the top 4 teams made it here from the elimination phase. And we're being joined by 2 teams that are visiting. 2 guest teams from abroad.
You're correct. From Australia and, of course, from Japan. Kinda University, bannering Japan, and, of course, Pro Volley from Australia. 28 games and 11 play days has been gone. What remains is a total of 7 days. A total of 5 straight play dates. Single round robin, and only the top 4 will survive. 1 game battle for the gold, and of course, likewise for the battle for the 3rd spot, which will bring home the bronze medal.
Which means every game is going to be very important for each and every squad. And so right here, even as we start just day 1 of the semifinals, everybody gearing up for a victory, because that is what they need to be able to make it there to the finals.
Indeed. It's all about a sprint towards getting as many wins as possible, as early as possible. Before you feel the fatigue, before you feel the pressure, the important part is get the early wins for a good investment, and hopeful and hoping that somehow this will be enough to serve as a buffer heading into the last 4.
Okay, right now let's take a look at these 2 squads, and we'll start out first with SAVOUGE. And this squad, who was able to make it to the top 4, they were actually on the podium the last time out, and they'd want to be able to do at least that, but it all starts here today.
Did enough to make it to the semifinals, lost 3 games, but won the all-important matches that eventually gave them the edge as they made it in the most difficult phase heading into the finals. Mark Calado. You also have, of course, their setter, John Paglaon, Shawi Caritativo, Gals Torres, and the revelation, Ray Marquetco. This will be called upon to help the SAVOUGE spin doctors try to make sure that they get to the finals for the first time. Back-to-back bronze medal teams will be anchored in these excellent categories, which they hope that they can be better at if they are to get past the regular trend, which is to see Signal and, of course, the Crisscross King Crunchers in the finals. But today, it's all about the year-ending conference, and sky's the limit. We talk about the SAVOUGE Spin Doctors.
Well, you saw there in the graphic a while ago, #1 as far as receiving. That's going to be very important for them here today. Let's flip over to the other side, and this time, let's talk about the squad of UST.
When you talk about, of course, experience and composure, advantage arrow points to SAVOUGE. But when we talk about depth and resilience, definitely it has to be UST. This is a team that was not supposed to be a part of the Invitational Conference, but eventually the silver medalists, the De La Salle Archers, begged off. Finalist, or the champion in the Collegiate Conference of the B League, was FAU. Eventually, a few did not make it to the semis. UST, a replacement team, beat the Signal Super Spikers, won 5 games in 7 matches, and showing us that they are among the top defensive teams, but more than that, they are among the best offensive teams. But this is a team which will be parading a roster which will be without Josh Ibanez, John Makam, Al-Bukhari Sali, 3 top scorers, 3 leading players who are with the Alas team right now as they are in a training camp in preparation for the Southeast Asian Games. But this just provides opportunity to the rest of the Golden Spikers to show what they have and to once again make a big splash here in the semifinals.
Please join us on our social media, all of the social media platforms that we have at Spikers Turf 2025, because we want you to join the discussion. At this point, let's send you now over courtside to find out the starting 6 for these 2 squads, our first game of the semifinals.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2025 Invitational Conference of the Spikers Turf, where power meets passion, played for the first time inside the historic Smart Araneta Coliseum. This is the semi-final round, match number 29 of the tournament features the SAVOUGE Aesthetic Spin Doctors and their opponents, the UST-GAMEVILLE Golden Spikers. Introducing the 2 national referees officiating this match. Our first referee is Joven Racelis. Second referee, Chopper Educado. Let's now meet the starters. First, for SAVOUGE Aesthetic Spin Doctors. Outside spiker number 1, Shawi Caritativo. Middle blocker number 4, Gilles Torres. Outside spiker number 6, Mark Calado. Setter number 13, Vince Imperial. Opposite hitter number 22, Raymark Petco. And middle blocker number 23, Daniel Nicolas. Starting libero is number 5, Rico Marmeto. The head coach for SAVOUGE is Sidney Calderon. And now the starters for the UST-GAMEVILLE Golden Spikers. Setter number 7, team captain Taxi Ampao. Outside spiker number 1, Chipoy De Vega. Middle blocker number 14, Trevor Valera. Opposite hitter number 15, Sherwin Umantan. Middle blocker number 18, Raven Katinsay. And outside spiker number 19, Andre Telicana. Starting libero is number 12, Edriel Alapar. Coaching UST for this game is Benji Mape.
There you have the starters. First for the squad of the Spin Doctors. They were introduced to everybody here at the Smart Araneta Coliseum. And against this squad, a little bit undermanned because 3 of their key players are training with Alas, as Coach mentioned. How much of a factor is that going to be here, Coach Ronnie?
Tremendous factor, definitely. Remember, not just the 3 key players, but likewise their head coach, who is a part, of course, of the national team coaching staff. But again, the opportunity, that is something that will be embraced pretty much the way they did in their last game, wherein UST was able to execute a reverse sweep against FAU without the key players that we mentioned, without their head coach, but under the tutelage, of course, of assistant coach Benji Mape.
Our officials just making sure everything is in order. And then our very first semifinal match will be underway here. Once again, we'd like to thank all of you for joining us. Anthony Suntay here together with Coach Ronnie Magsanok. It's UST Gameville up against SAVOUGE. Our very first semifinal again. Top two teams after the round robin automatically make it to the finals. Let's see if the youngsters can take one over the veterans.
That's why it's extremely important for SAVOUGE to jump the gun on the youngsters who have been playing fearless volleyball, really, winning 5 games in 7 matches, defeating the Signal Super Spikers, and definitely playing with a lot of confidence heading into the semifinals.
They got to minimize their errors, talking about SAVOUGE. Actually, even for both these squads, if they really want to make it close.
First time that these two teams met, UST committed 36 errors, SAVOUGE with only 19. That's over a set and a half of free points given up, referring to UST.
Oh, that one sprayed high, sprayed long, no question about that one.
Too high and too long for Raymark Betko, the biggest revelation of this conference for the Spin Doctors.
Early goings here of our very first semifinal. Going to the pin. That's good blocking being shown here by UST. And they go cross court, running out of space though.
Transition play missed by Sherwin Kumandal. 6-point scorer in their first encounter, but they will challenge.
Yes, they will.
Kumandal also firing 9 points in that reverse sweep win versus FEU just last November 16th.
Coach Mape quickly looked over at the rest of the staff and said, do we challenge? And they said yes. And so early on here in this match, we're going to have a challenge. As it stands, it is 2 apiece here for UST and also the squad of SAVOUGE. Net fault is the challenge being issued here.
You asked earlier about the 3 players who will be absent for them. Is it a big factor? Ibanez alone is 17 scoring, number 4 in aces, number 10 in digs, number 7 in receptions. They will lose 2 of their best scorers heading into the semifinal phase.
And here's the challenge. Looks clean. Unsuccessful challenge here, and SAVOUGE will keep the points.
These 2 teams played nearly 2 hours of a grueling match last October 31st.
Easy kill there.
That's Ray Miguel De Vega, who was 13 of 30. From the open, De La Vega explodes. Also at 15 points versus FEU in their 5-set win.
UST up by 1. Now we are tied at 3 apiece. This is going to go down the wire, I feel.
There's no doubt. Play a total of 5 games. Here in the semifinals, 5 straight play dates from today up to November 27. No rest for the weary.
Good attack there for UST, and they're going to cling on to this 1-point lead.
Playmaker Imperial asking Betko to keep moving, to try to follow the path of the ball, to keep it in play.
That's a great pass. Great setup, but the defense was there. They set up De Vega, and he picks up his 2nd point.
Back-to-back back points for De Vega. The main point of attack right now for Yambao. 13 of 30, had 17 points, also had 3 service aces. And that was in their first meeting against SAVOUGE. Tight.
That was too tight.
What a net
Nonetheless,
touch.
it's still going to be UST picking up the point, and they're up by 3.
In the first encounter, the first set went to SAVOUGE in extended fashion at 26-24. Won the first 2 sets, lost set 3, before eventually closing out in the 4th and final set. Experience, reading the defense. And this is a minted wing hitter, talking about Caritativo, but an excellent misdirection at the middle in that last sequence coming from Gals Torres.
Good serve that time. Good reception, but boy, De Vega there able to get a foot on this one. Free ball though from the back row. That's dug once again. They go back to the pin. And eventually defense leading to that point.
We talked about this at the top of the coverage. One of the top defensive units is UST. Very tall lineup, very active, proven by the numbers, consistent in terms of blocking. Number 4 in the competition heading to this phase.
Boom! Caritativo says, here I come.
Has to be this way for Shawi Caritativo. Only 4 points in the 3-set loss to the Super Spikers. 9 points against UST in their first encounter.
Ooh, that's going to be the second service error here for SAVOUGE, which is going to bring us to our first technical timeout. UST up by 3.
Back inside the Big Dome, you're still watching the Spikers Surf Invitational Conference where power meets passion. While they are the only collegiate team here in the semis, the Big Dome setup is very familiar for them. Talking about the UST-GAMEVILLE Golden Spikers. However, what's unfamiliar for them is having to play incomplete, missing their key players who are all training for Taiwan. Pero alam niyo ba, Anthony and Coach Ronnie, with that in mind, Josh, JJ, and Sally all wish them a good luck for today's game, cheering all the way there. Pero although Golden Spikers are left with mostly sophomores and juniors, sabi nga ni Ed Alabar, hindi sila magpapatalo. And he has a quote from his ate Josh in mind as well. And I quote, treat every game as if it's my last. Eyes on the goal and heart all out. But for now, back to you, Anthony and Coach Ronnie.
Thanks a lot, May. So far, so good here for UST. Well, UST's got a solid program as far as volleyball is concerned. So despite some of them being second stringers, you know they are top class.
Given maximum exposure, they will see even more playing time here in the semis. And right now, SAVOUGE hurt by a lot of errors here in set 1.
Oh, great defense so far being shown here by UST. There it is once again, leading to that attack. SAVOUGE says, we're no slouch as far as defense is concerned. That might be tipped. It was clear.
Caritativo, Betco, Calado. These are the key players offensively for Coach Sidney Calderon. They have to be at their best if they are to get past the challenge of the very hungry unit of the GAMEVILLE Golden Spikers.
They go to the wing. Umandal denied there.
A second miss for Sherwin Umandal. Of course, the younger brother of Jao Umandal. Also a former Golden Spiker. SAVOUGE with the first set rally down by only 1 after being behind by as much as 3.
Nice defense being shown by SAVOUGE here. With some floor defense, they're gonna say that wasn't enough for a pancake, and we are deadlocked at 9.
Not even the body pancake was enough to salvage that last sequence. Remember that it's also Josh Ibanez who's one of their better back row defenders as he plays the libero position for Dallas, Pilipinas men's volleyball team. That's a super talent, really.
That was mishit. And now it's SAVOUGE on top by 1.
Floor defense as well, helping out SAVOUGE get back in the set after being down by 3. Iba ang mga mata ng mga malalaro ng spin doctors ngayon.
That's despite the 2 errors that they had on serve, and still they're on top by 2. No timeout yet here from UST.
They had 9 kill blocks in that first encounter against UST. Against Signal, they had 8. Talking about SAVOUGE. Gal Torres is the #1 blocker right now, by the way, in the competition.
Back to the pin. That was well read. Opportunity here. And scoring there is Delicana.
Delicana did not see action in that first encounter versus SAVOUGE. Delicana against FEU played all 4 sets, scored 9 points. It's a matter of opportunity for these young players.
Oh yes, that's for sure.
Combination play. Excellent hide. Formerly of FEU. And the Signal Super Spikers. Marcelado moving to a different direction. Suddenly, he is the top gun for Coach Sidney Calderon and the Spin Doctors.
That's going to be the 3rd service mistake.
Is this the 5th error for SAVOUGE in the set?
We'll double check, but we have now some of the Japanese players coming in.
7 errors, 3 service errors.
Almost an ace, it is.
That's a rare miscue coming from Marmeto, a defensive specialist.
And he was looking up at the screen saying, how did I miss
How can
that
that
one?
happen, right? #5 in reception efficiency at 57%.
Boom! Caritativo once again.
Boom, boom, pow for Caritativo.
Wow.
Caritativo, second to Calado in scoring. With the 3rd in scoring with 75 points heading to this game.
They go back to the pin. And this time Umandal says, I almost got it this time, but still, it's a point once again for SAVOUGE.
Again, the cross court was taken away, went for a line shot. Mandalas missed a couple. A chance to tie. Instead, it's SAVOUGE up by 2 points. Very young team from Japan.
Oh, very young team, but very skilled. And you know, the program of Japanese volleyball is very high. One of the best, if not the best here in Asia.
No foreign team has been able to cross over to the finals yet in the history of the Spikers turn.
And that's exactly what that young team is trying to do. There's going to be another error. And it's a point here for SAVOUGE. They're up by 2.
Not the tallest middle blocker, but definitely, even if he has played under the radar, one of the most effective players for SAVOUGE is Gal Torres, as we take a look at Mads Gampong and Narciso in this double sub for SAVOUGE.
Umandal will be lifted. And Narciso now with the serve. Hanging tough. Here at UST, watch it there once again. Going down the line.
Good reverse set. As the middle was being guarded tightly by the spin doctors. Suddenly went to the right pin.
That's a great serve. Also a great reception. That's kept alive. Free ball here. From the outside, it's long. And we are deadlocked once again.
Let's see if we can check that last sequence. Suddenly, Narciso went for the back row play on the pipe. Calado will miss.
One point right before we get to the technical timeout. And that air run serve from UST will bring us right there to that one. It's 16 for SAVOUGE, 15 for UST.
May top 5 players sa Spikers Turf. Una is si Shawi Caritativo. Si Shawi kasi all-around player siya. Kaya niyang gawin lahat. Pangalawa is si Wendell Miguel from Signal H Spikers. Sobrang versatile din niya. And pangatlo is si Kuya Rico Marmeto. Pagdating sa passing or sa reception, okay na okay yung passing niya. The next is Vince Imperial. Kahit maliit siya, kaya niyang mag-block. Sa utility naman is, I think, is si Steven Ruther. Sobrang okay siya maglaro and ang hirap niyang blockin.
Just a 1-point lead here for SAVOUGE. They got the serve.
Ooh.
As the fans are starting to enter here the big dome. Expect this to get filled all the way up to our 5 p.m. encounter. The last of the triple bill to open up our semifinals.
Excellent passing here for UST. Third best receiving team heading to this game.
Boom.
And that's a quicker if I've ever seen one. Zero tempo play. That's given them at least 3 points of that shoot set. And again, the passing. This time coming from Marmeto and Narciso. Suddenly, Gals Torres once again explodes for another point. 3 in the set for Gals Torres.
This is what we expected.
Wow.
Tight all the way. Delicana's going to get that one through.
Okay lang magkatabi basta pero hindi ko silang dalawa kumuha.
A little bit of a question here.
Good shot. I'm also good for
Overruled.
Nasa libro yan.
Side at 17.
Pinaliwanag ko na. Only captain makakaintindi niyan.
Okay, play on, they say. UST now to serve. Back to the pin, and a cross-court shot will work for Gampong.
Have no fear, Mads is here. A UAAP champion for Coach Dante Alinsinurin and the NU Bulldogs. And again, that reverse set. A quick one at that. Down 3, up 1 at this stage. Experience and composure versus depth and resilience.
Something's definitely got to give here. That's a good adjustment.
Tell me about it. Delicana has been at the top of his game. The blockers are right there. They know where Yambao is going, but Delicana, even through broken plays, has found a way to score.
Hernandez getting ready to check in. He's going to be the designated server.
You talk about height comparison. UST has the advantage over SAVOUGE.
That is right. That's going to be an ace. Thank you, they say to the net.
Hernandez giving UST a precious point. Did not score. Came off the bench in sets 1 and 4 against SAVOUGE. First time that these two teams met.
Another great serve. Chance for UST here. One-handed set is going to be enough.
Tawag ko net for the spikers.
Now a little bit of discussion here once again.
All I can say is that I keep hearing the challenge button.
Now they're going to go for a net fall challenge.
Only captain. Go. Pagkasabi sa coach sa both teams. Only captain. May card ako rito.
Now, seems like our first referee is, well, we're going to a challenge first.
What a treat for all of these players to see action here at the Araneta. According to me, UST players used to seeing action here
Oh,
at
yeah.
the Big Dome.
That's correct.
But for those who have played in the Spikers turf for the last 2 years, definitely it's normally at the Paco Arena or Field Sports. You get to the finals.
So a historic moment for Spikers Turf as we invade the Big Dome. And there was a net fault. But now our first referee wants to talk to the two team captains.
Ang tingin namin net. Net, oo net. Pero SAVOUGE siyang nag-net. Okay, hindi UST. Ang tingin ko kasi, sabay ang action eh. So ang tingin ko spiker kasi may follow through. Ang blocker kasi steady. So kaya ito sabi sa challenge, SAVOUGE siyang nag-net. Okay, hindi UST. Hindi kasi may block touch nga eh. Ibig sabihin, hey, challenge na tayo. Challenge. Thank you.
You like that when our referees try to make everything clear. So after the challenge, it's UST up by 2. And now we have a timeout.
Tayo kasi ngayong score natin halos dikit. So kung gusto natin manalo, laruin natin ng malinis. Huwag tayong magbigay ng puntos sa kanila. Ha? Huwag niyo pilitin iganon dan.
Sige, coach.
Taas mo na lang, di ba remind ko sa inyo kahapon, high hand. Ha? Tara.
So back to the action here after that timeout.
Down to UST, up by a couple of points late in the set. That's a big one.
They needed that.
That's a big one as UST already reached point number 20. SAVOUGE hurt by 7 errors. So far committed here in set 1, and Coach Sidney Calderon was clear about giving up free points.
So Austria will come in, the captain, who's also their service specialist. Big moment here for the captain. Big moment here for SAVOUGE. Already with 3 service errors. They make sure of that one. Chance here.
Good adjustment.
They go to the opposite end and scoring there. And once again, up by 2 are UST. It's winning time here in set number 1.
Sherwin Umandal was missing earlier, but went for a cut shot. Not a line attempt anymore, or a down the line attempt anymore.
So Austria replaced. Boom! Again, Caritativo. That's his third big shot.
Against Umandal. The fire in the eyes of Caritativo.
Once again, that's going to cut the lead down to 1.
Excellent passing coming from SAVOUGE.
Trying to get one back was Umandal, and that's exactly what he did.
And it matters the most. Umandal has been steady, and that's what you need. No Josh Ibanez, no John Macam, no Al Bukarisani.
That's the second time it's hit that net and gone over on the serve. That's going to be tight. They're going to say overreaching. Actually, it looked like it was still on the side there. Watch it here. Ooh,
Close.
that was close. With the naked eye a while ago, I thought it was definitely overreaching. That is sprayed long. Caritativo. They look over to him, say, was it checked? And they're going to challenge here, coach. Might as well.
Try to overpower the blockers. It's either a 2-point lead for UST or tied at 22.
We will find out. It makes sense to actually challenge it here. But actually, when they looked at Caritativo, he wasn't actually sure that there was a touch. But nonetheless, you can't carry your challenges to the next set anyhow. So why not use it? You can see the look of concern on Caritativo. Because immediately the coach looked up to him and asked, do we challenge? And his reply was really not the most convincing.
Now we know why.
Yes. Because a lot of times the spikers will immediately go over to their coach and say, coach, challenge. But he didn't say anything. But the coach said, never mind, let's challenge anyhow, just in case maybe a finger got in there. Or a fingernail. But none. One of the few service errors here for UST.
That's a key. Miscue on the part of UST as they had SAVOUGE on its heels. Let's see if experience will be something that SAVOUGE will be able to use as a tool to overhaul this 1-point deficit late in the set. Tight.
Too tight. It got over though.
Nice. Nice sequence. I like the way that the libero pushed his teammate to get that ball in the right sequence, to keep it in its element. Tied at 23. Timeout UST.
Hey, manood dito. Nandito kagad, di ba? Nandito si Dax. Si Dax to. Nandito si Trevor. Siksigin nyo dito. Trevor, ikaw to, no? Pasukan mo dito. Dito to. Ready itong dalawa dito. Ay. Ready kayo dito. Yung depensa natin sa likod. Pasagad! Yung depensa sa likod. Depensa sa likod. Huwag kayong tumapad dyan. Lalo na pag may blocker doon, no? Pasok ko sa'yo, ha? Dax tayo ko sa line, ha? Pasok center. Cross court, eh.
This is it. The business end of set number 1. Deadlocked at 23. Caritativo with the serve. Already with 3 service errors. This one, they gotta make sure it gets in. And they do.
Oh!
That's gonna work there for Hernandez.
A service error, an attack error. And these have happened in closeout time here for UST. They could have closed out this set already. Instead, they are down by 1 set point.
Hernandez lifted. Delicana sent right back in, but now it is set point for Savage.
The fire in the eyes of Caritativo, very visible.
Just making sure that's in. Not going to be allowed. They say he went under the net. Imperial was trying to send that back in. Extended set
Yes,
here,
sir.
coach.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What did we say?
Sir,
We
yes, sir.
expected this to be close till the very end. All 3 sets.
Oh.
Delicana dug. Back to him. And he will deliver.
Lost opportunity for Savage. Up by a set point, down by a set point.
And a timeout will now be called by Savage.
Sa dulo pa tayo nagkaroon ng miscommunication sa set mo. Ha? All 25, eh, ano yan, 25-24. Forget. Ha? Pasahan natin ng maganda, execute tayo. Ha? Walang matatakot, pumalo kayo. Tara.
It all starts first here with the serve. It is now set point, but this time for UST.
Right. Showing also nerves of steel after giving up 2 critical points. Can they close out?
Get that serve in. Tied at 25.
Again, that sequence, excellent passing. Imperial did not have to move. And this is another chance for that quick set, for the quicker. That's Gans Torres.
Both squads have had their taste of the lead here in our opening set. And now we are all squared at 25. Delicana is not going to get that over. Oh, he did. It was close.
I believe Delicana is the leading scorer for UST in this set.
That's why he was quickly thrust into action after Hernandez made that error.
Second set point here for UST. Short serve.
That gets over.
Oh my.
And it's going to be set number 1 going to the Golden Spikers.
Broken play. Petco could not deliver. Down by a set point. But wins this first set by 2 points at 27-25.
Welcome back here to the Big Dome as we bring you the highlights of set number 1. UST up against Savage. It is a tightly contested first set.
As expected, but normally it's UST who starts out slow. Remember that they lost, or rather they won in 5 sets in the first week against FAU. But against SAVOUGE, a team that beat them in 4 sets. SAVOUGE started out shaky, down by a couple of points, until they recovered as Caritativo and Calado joined forces. Unfortunately for them, they could not stop Delicano, who erupted for 7 of his team's 27 points. And SAVOUGE, that transition play really hurt them. A chance to stay ahead by a set point. Instead, eventually, UST will close out. As those numbers will tell you that this might be the trend all match long. Tight as can be, it's all about composure and winning the tight points, the big points, to make sure that you stay ahead of the opposition.
Well, this is what we expected. Nip and tuck the entire way.
I really thought that Dax Yambao also was steadier down the stretch. And I expected the blocking of SAVOUGE to be better. Because remember that UST is not playing with at least 3 key players. And it's a loaded roster. No Ibanez, no Sally, no Makam. No problem so far for the Golden Spikers.
Well, Delicana came to the rescue here after coming in here for Hernandez late in the first set. Here we go, set number 2. Our opening match for our semifinals here in the Spikers Turf Invitational Conference.
Naiintindihan namin yung kay Ben o yung nag-over yung ginawa niya yung bola eh, tapos pinalo niya. Niradyo na lang sa amin. Pakisabi na lang kasi natin.
Just some confirmation here. So there was actually a warning here coming from our first referee. To one of the players on SAVOUGE. After losing that set, they slammed the volleyball on the floor.
Saw that.
And again, it's our referees and our officials making sure that they have total control of the match.
It's all about protocol really in this sport. But sometimes, really, it's just simple emotions.
Exactly.
Nothing else.
Delicana gets above the defense. Watch this.
Delicana is public enemy number 1 here for SAVOUGE.
And the defenders are right there.
Yes.
It didn't matter.
Like a big thorn against SAVOUGE.
Alabar was able to get to that one.
Back row defense also SAVOUGE was something that was a concern for them.
De Vega got his squad off to a good start. At the beginning of the first set, comes up with a good point here.
They came to the Spikers Turf with the fearless mentality. And it has carried over here in the semifinals. Very hard to play against this team.
Well, they're saying we're not one of the top collegiate squads for nothing.
They're expected to play well. But in terms of getting this far, the FAU, the Collegiate Conference title holders, only had 2 wins. UST had 5 wins to place 3rd among 4 teams that made it to the semis.
Ooh, that one, De Vega will send a little bit too far out.
Tried to score off the block.
And Mandal was asking, was it touch? Was it touch? And De Vega himself says, no, it wasn't. Just a little bit too high.
Turned out to be a line drive coming from De Vega.
Not the best of passes. Still a chance here for UST. They go right back to the pin, and that's Umandal scoring.
I'm definitely sure when Umandal, who had his struggles in set 1, had a lot to do about that come from behind win from UST. In the critical points, he was at his best.
Miss hit there. Just send over. A chance to reset.
Still alive.
We're going to say.
Violation on the
That was
part of
touched
UST.
twice. Was able to slow down that ball also as it went over. Nonetheless, it's a 1-point lead here for SAVOUGE. Better reception. And De Vega's attack just a little bit too powerful that time.
And again, the creativity of Daxian Bao has made it difficult for SAVOUGE to track the points of attack of the Golden Spikers.
That's a great serve. Nice block. There's another block. That time from Yambao. And De Vega delivers another point.
It helps if your setter is also quite tall. Additional layer for your net defense. Leading to display. Another transition point here for UST.
They put together 2 straight points. They now have the lead. Umandal, that's a poor serve. He clearly mishit that one. Shawi now with the serve. So far, a solid outing for him, though they lost that first set. Quick attack once again by De Vega. And he's starting to rack up the points here in
Indeed.
set number 2.
Talking about SAVOUGE, they need excellent play coming from Raymar Bertorilla. Calado, Caritativo, Ralph Torres, these are experienced players. Betco, now it's all about playing better here in the playoffs.
That gets through.
Also a minted player here in the Spikers turf, showing us that he has been a good go-to player here for SAVOUGE. Scored some crucial points. Helped SAVOUGE get a set point edge that they eventually lost in set 1.
Ooh, that float serve.
That's an ace.
He's gonna get Torres an ace.
First one in the match for SAVOUGE. They gave up 2 service aces to UST in set 1.
Coach Mappin not too happy about that reception. Delicana that time against a 3-man wall will get rejected.
It has to be that way for SAVOUGE if they're to stay afloat.
Back inside the Big Dome, you're still watching the Spikers Turf Invitational Conference where power meets passion. Backing on their win against the UST Golden Spikers in the eliminations, the job is still not done and far from over for the SAVOUGE Spin Doctors. And earlier, I got the chance to talk to Mark Calado and sabi niya nga, expected niya na to. The game will be intense or even extended. And we all saw that in the first set actually. But you know, from their huddle, accountability and positivity were shared. As for Mark Calado nga, he's confident in the team's skills, be it offense or defense. But from here on out, it will be a battle of kung sinong mas gigil at mas gutom. But for now, back to you, Anthony and Coach Ronnie.
Thanks a lot, May. Right now, just a 1-point lead. New season, bigger stories. Aces returns for Season 2, only on the Pilipinas Live app. Download and register now and stream all Pilipinas Live originals anytime, anywhere, on any device. There's going to be a challenge here.
You can hear it.
So a net fault is what they were asking for. That was actually right in front of our first referee. So far, a 2-point lead here by SAVOUGE, unless it gets reversed.
If it happens, it'll be a tight contest.
That looked clean.
Two-point edge for SAVOUGE. Can they build on this?
So they cling on to a 2-point lead.
Wow.
And a violation is going to be called here in SAVOUGE. That was Delicana once again, trying to get above in the defense.
That's a major vertical coming from Delicana. This one. Higher and higher.
That was well done.
Half a second late.
That was really just out of the reach of Alabar. Watch it here once again.
Nicolas scored 1 point in their first round, their first encounter. Daniel Nicolas came off the bench against Signal in their last match, had 5 points.
Mandal will deliver there, bringing UST to within 1.
Very tough to defend left-handed players in any sport. Daniel Nicolas is 23 years old from Bulacan, Santa Maria, Bulacan.
Another poor serve. That time from Delicana.
From UP, Daniel Nicolas. No Adaw in today's matchup for SAVOUGE. Not suited up. Haven't seen John Michael Paglaon or Page, who has seen much of the action as the playmaker for SAVOUGE here this conference.
Mandal gets denied.
That's what they need. Slow down. Denial.
It's a 3-point lead now, exactly the biggest lead for SAVOUGE.
Nagat nyo? Oh, kitang-kita. So ibig sabihin, wala sa tempo. Yung dating ng bola sa dating ng attacker natin, saka yung setter natin, naka-ready na agad doon. Okay. Gawa mo ng play dito. Nasasanay na sila dito. Ready dito. Activate quick na lang. Let's go, let's go.
Clear's day. Tactical reminders coming from Coach Benji Mape.
In the back row.
7 points.
They're going to challenge there. They're going to say foot fault.
That was a back row play.
Didn't quite catch that one. That was directly in front of us. Again, we were looking high at the attack. But Coach Calderon claims nakita niya. As it stands, it is 12 for SAVOUGE, 10 for UST.
Clear as day.
Turns out to be a great challenge. Now it's a 3-point advantage for SAVOUGE.
This is 5-3 after the score stood at 8-6 as we reach the first technical timeout for SAVOUGE. Torres was late to close out that double wall as De Vega beats the defense of Gampong.
Nice smile there from De Vega.
Very quick.
Says you got to get there a lot quicker than that, or else I'm going to score every single time. Good dig.
Tight.
De Vega again. Is forced to go to his left hand. They go to the middle. Oh, that sneaks in. They go to the other side. Umandal will just send it over. An opportunity for SAVOUGE from the back row. That's kept alive. Attack slowed down.
Tremendous floor defense from UST.
That's gonna enter. Wow, Gampong wasn't aware of it.
The Vegas will score twice against Gampong unless this challenge rather, holds for SAVOUGE.
Well, they're gonna ask for a net fault here. Gampong wasn't expecting that one to come his way. And maybe UST, by trying to reach out, because that was out of their attack area, maybe they might have touched the net. And that, I think, is what Coach Sydney is asking and hoping for.
Because he saw the net moved. That's what he saw clearly.
That's a good call.
At hindi lang basta natabig, umalon eh. Kasi made that challenge the moment he saw the ball land.
Ooh, a commanding 4-point lead here in the middle part of set number 2.
6 points for SAVOUGE since the first technical timeout.
Chance for them here. Xavi resets. Not too much power behind that one. Here's De Vega.
That's a miss.
Sending that clearly long. It's a 5-point lead right now by the Spin Doctors.
It was a big misstep for SAVOUGE in that first set loss. A set that they could have won, but eventually lost.
Umandal denied.
And this is where the difference lies. The blocking, really. It was something missing for SAVOUGE in that set 1 loss. Suddenly, they're up by 6.
Okay, so una sa 5 player na napili ko dito sa Spikers Turf. Una si Dax Yambao, syempre para maraming set sa akin. Tapos pangalawa si Kuya Joshua Umandal. Tapos pangatlo would be si Kuya Sian Silang, si J-Rock de la Noche, at si Popoy Colinares.
And back to the action now. As we see a clear advantage for the Spin Doctors here in set number 2.
This is a major run for SAVOUGE. Something that we did not see in the previous set.
Actually, from either squad, nobody had a lead more than 4. And the lead is now 7.
They seem to have identified De Vega to be a weak link in terms of receiving. Up 7, can you believe it?
I expected this to be tight all throughout, but the Spin Doctors say no.
Up
Wow! What a joust up there. And Torres comes away with the point, and it is an 8-point lead.
10-4 since the first technical timeout. Up 2 first technical timeout.
Hey. Hindi
Ahead by 8
nadadaan
at
sa
this
init
stage.
ng ulo yan. Naget nyo? Ang labanan dito, patience. Hindi init ng ulo ang umaano dito. Trevor, ha? Isang receive lang. Andito si G-Boy sa gitna, di ba? Andito si G-Boy. Isang receive dito, ayan yan, meron dito, tapos meron ka dyan. Ingat ka taka, second line ha. Okay?
Start mo tayo sa pasa.
Pag ganun, nag-aalanganin ka, humihiyad ka kasi si binabaon mo pa eh. Hanapin mo na yung kamay.
Hoy! Enjoy naman tayo! Tayo lamang sa set. Ulit ka lang!
8-point lead opened up here by SAVOUGE in total control here in the second.
Talk about separation. Oh, another miss.
That made contact.
Earlier, during the timeout, we overheard Coach Mape reminding his players to keep their cool, keep their minds on what lies ahead. Mindfulness, always essential. Bilis ng reaction ni Sherwin Mandan.
He went right back when he said that there would be no substitutions. And Caritativo comes up with another point.
The tension has been diffused for the spin doctors. And Narciso has done his job really masterfully. No paglaon, also not suited up. Likewise with Adaw. So it's Narciso and Imperial who will join forces as the playmakers. Error count for UST, 7 in this set. SAVOUGE with only 2 after committing 9 in that set, 1 loss.
No question about that one.
And again, the blocking of SAVOUGE has made major impact here in this set 2 performance. More efficient, definitely omnipresent. Has reduced the number of attack points for UST, which total about 15 in that first set win.
It is a 9-point lead. Make that 10.
3 blocks in this set. 8-6. First technical timeout since that time. 13 points for SAVOUGE. 5 points for UST. And Yamba will be replaced.
I like that substitution. Give him some rest, because this second set is really essentially done.
The inevitable is bound to happen sooner than soon.
Well, you get him ready for the third. Great dig. Dion is in the right spot. Now they've got a chance. But it's sent wide.
That's a rare miss coming from Gals Torres so far. Total blocks SAVOUGE with 7, 5 here in set 2. That's 5 of the 21 points. 20% at least of their total output coming from offensive blocks.
Here's De Vega.
What a serve.
That's not going to get over.
The important thing right now for SAVOUGE is to try and take away the spirit of UST. Take away the possible momentum shift once again and give them that confidence when we open up set number 3.
Missed opportunity there from
Sanama.
Sanama, exactly. From a personal point of view. But it looks like SAVOUGE should be taking this set. Unless we're going to see a major miracle here from UST.
Oh, that's in for Torres. Easily the 70% mark in terms of hitting accuracy today. The best point of attack so far for SAVOUGE in this match.
So now SAVOUGE just 3 points away from tying things up at a set apiece. And Delicana continues to roll.
The passing was not excellent, but somehow Delicana, no problem. Again, finding ways to score. Difficult setup. Back row defense, Paulus.
Boom!
Oh my.
That ricocheted
That's a killer. That can
Yes,
hurt
it
people.
did.
That can hurt people.
It almost took somebody's head off here on the side.
That decoy move. Shattered the possible triple block.
That's not going to get over for Delicana. A little bit too delicate on that one. And it failed.
8 errors in the set for UST. That's 33% of the total output of SAVOUGE, coming from 3 points given up by the Golden Spikers of UST Gameville. Off the block point. Going deeper in the rotation.
Oh, pwede natin gawin yung wave play natin, yung play 1 natin. Alam niyo 'di ba? So, wave play tayo.
Ito ako.
Siya saan ka? Nasa harap?
Paharap ako.
Paharap ka na? Okay. Okay. Pasahan nyo na lang. Okay, play 1 tayo. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Panigurado ni Coach Sidney Calderon.
That's quite surprising because they've got a multiple set points here.
Well, coaches normally look ahead. Or think ahead. Pag nakabuelo, mas talunin mo sa set na to, mauunahan ka sa parating na set. Ba't hindi mo ibaon?
Chance here to end it early, which is what Coach Sidney wants. Well, that wave play wasn't executed properly. And you could see they worked on that though in practice.
Miscommunication. Out of sync.
It was a nice wave though. Of 2 players coming forward and nobody attacked. And that serve will be rejected, and that will end proceedings here in set number 2.
Error number 10 for UST. 10 free points given up. That proved to be disastrous for them. Set count. 1 set apiece for SAVOUGE and UST.
Actually, alam ko nga itong TikTokin. Kahit di kita makikita sa boyfriend mo. Boyfriend. Di ka mapakali, kahit hindi sa tabi. Di kita mapigilan sa boyfriend mo. Konting oras tumatawag ka sa number ko. Mundo. Sinta ng tahanan sa
2025 NBA Emirates Cup is here on Signal. Watch the action this November to December on NBA TV Philippines and Pilipinas Live. And now let's go to the highlights of set number 2. A dominating set here, Coach.
Definitely. And SAVOUGE made sure that their experience would turn things around. Could have been a double fault for them had they been 2 sets down. Instead, even if UST out-hit them with only 8 attack points, their blocking was enough to bring down the confidence level of UST. That proved to be a major step for them to tie this match at 1 set apiece. Also helped out as UST committed 10 errors, gifted SAVOUGE with 10 of its 25 points. 2 service aces as well for the Spin Doctors to help them salvage that second set easily against UST.
As you mentioned, just too many errors here. That's 10.
And then Gals Torres exploded with 6 of his 8 points. That's 6 of the 25 points coming from Gals Torres.
The 2025 NBA Emirates Cup is here on Signal. Watch the action this November to December on NBA TV Philippines and Pilipinas Live.
Delicana was kept to just 2 points in that set 2 loss. This comes after a 7-point output in that set 1 win. It was De Vega and Umandal who carried the Cudgels offensively for the Golden Spikers. But Yambao, if he starts out set 3, will try to do what Narciso and Imperial did against him. Dax Yambao is back as the chief playmaker for UST in this set.
That was expected.
Rest and recover.
We are deadlocked at a set apiece here. Umandal gets things off on a good note here for UST.
2 points in set 1, 4 points in set 2. They need more from Sherwin Umandal. Good start for UST in this set.
Calado, his attack there, they were able to reach it defensively to the middle.
Oh,
Calado dug. And Calado not able to get to that one.
De La Vega, even if he scored 5 points in the previous second set loss, committed at least 3 errors for UST. Now coming back strongly, helping UST open up the set with a 2-point edge.
That's a great serve. Back to Calado. Oh, what a stretch there, just to keep that one alive. Back to Calado at the pin. And that attack just a little bit too wide.
What about the floor defense for the Golden Spikers?
And an early timeout will be called here by the Spin Doctors.
Relax. Wala naman ako nakikitang mali. Yung conversion na lang natin sa ganito.
Sige.
Guys, okay yung defense natin. Ito na lang kulang. Sabayan natin ng ganun. Ano na tayo? Bawi lang tayo. Hanggat maaga pa yan, anuhin na natin. Solusyonan na natin kagad. Let's go. One team.
What about this fiery start coming from the Golden Spikers? Losing the second set badly, but suddenly playing as if they won the previous set.
Exactly. The momentum was on their side.
Early timeout for Coach Calderon to try and arrest this kid.
And that's what you want to see coming off a timeout.
That's why he called timeout. Sabi nga niya, habang maaga pa, hanapan na ng solusyon. Mats Gampong has found a solution to earn his team's first point. Good coverage coming from Narciso. Side pass. That defense was something that SAVOUGE controlled in that set to win. UST did not have a single kill block in the previous set.
They go back over to the other side of Gampong.
UST 4, Gampong 2 has scored all of the points of SAVOUGE in this set.
Umandal goes down the line with success.
Two of the first 5 points have come from Sherwin Umandal. Umandal now with a total of 8 points behind the 9 of Delicano.
Back row attack. Boy, how did Calado find that space there? Right by the corner.
Libero was covering long and deep. The triple block was right there. Angle tip. Difficult to defend.
Jonas at the right spot. Calado denied. Umandal from the back row. That'll go over. And eventually SAVOUGE will take that one.
A series of broken plays.
Yes.
And eventually the defensive rotation was broken as well. And this one. Excellent block coming from Gals Torres. That's his game, really.
Combination play. Boy, Jonas got to that one. Gampong denied.
Donis was on the opposite end. Calderon signaling to Narciso. That should have been his.
Not the best of serves.
Gals Torres, incidentally, is #1 among all blockers. 20 total kill blocks heading to this game.
Caritativo with a serve. Squad is down by 1. They were down by 3 earlier. Calado.
Again, the drop.
Ooh, it got over. Still alive. Point still going. Back row attack. Smart play there. And Narciso delivers a point.
What about Adonis all over the place? And again, that play enabling Narciso to go for that dump. Tied at 6 on a 6-3 run here generated by SAVOUGE.
That's out. Clearly.
I can hear the sound. Miss hit. Up 3, down 1. 7-3 surge generated by SAVOUGE. And that came after that early timeout was called by Coach Calderon. Donis again.
Are they going to challenge?
They will not.
Jonas at first was about to say he got there and then realized no, he didn't. Got another tight affair here. Look at that cross-court shot from Calado.
Marmeto's thumbprint all over that last point. First pass, shaky. Marmeto, steady.
inside the Big Dome. You're still watching the Spikers Turf Invitational Conference where power meets passion. If there's one thing the UST Golden Spikers learned about being incomplete, it's definitely flexibility. And you know, Dux Yambao actually knows how that feels because earlier he told me he played both the roles of a setter and even opposite hitter sometimes. When I asked him about it, Dux said that those instances are actually unexpected and on the spot since he doesn't really train for the opposite hitter role. Pero sabi rin ni Dux, and I quote, malaki ang pasasalamat ko na nagtitiwala sila kahit saan ako ilagay. But even if that's the case for Dux, and if he gets to choose, setter pa rin daw talaga. Pero masarap din pumalo. What are your thoughts on that, Anthony and Coach Ronnie?
Chief playmaker, and then can spike when needed.
The first ever FIFA Futsal World Cup is happening from November 21 to December 7. That's going to be at the Phil Sports Arena in Pasig City. Visit FIFA.com/tickets for more details, or you can watch it live via the Pilipinas Live app, One Sports, One Sports Plus, and RPTV. UST picking up that point, ties things up now at 8. A lot of supporters of UST are now inside the Big Dome, trying to be as noisy as they possibly can. That's going to definitely add to the excitement here. Calado. Umandal goes too wide.
Again went for the cut shot, but overshoots the mark. Napakalaking bagay, nakabalik ng maagang SAVOUGE. No?
What a shot.
Excellent recovery by Hernandez. This one after being blocked. Not a save for the Golden Spikers.
We are deadlocked once again after an early lead. That serve will go long.
And a part of a two-way game of Caritativo is that he is an excellent receiver. Good read in that last serve coming from UST by Shawi.
Well, tit for tat. Calado's going to send that one along as well. That elicits a nice smile.
From 9 errors in set 1, SAVOUGE cut down their error count to just 5 in that set 2 win.
Calado is dug. Back set Umandal.
Wow.
That time, he went cross court again, and this time successful.
And Narciso was right there. Well placed. Major force.
What a quick attack there from Caritativo, but looks like there's going to be a violation.
From Nicolas. UST has been able to catch their bearings once again. Lost a 3-point edge. They were down by 2. But since the first technical timeout, they have erased the 2-point deficit and are ahead by 2 points.
That was essentially the same play.
Yes.
And this time, with no violation from Nicolas.
True. Caritativo, 5 points in set 1. Just 1 point in that set 2 win.
And Narciso was able to get to that one.
Flipping the net. I thought that Yambao was about to strike. A lot of flair in that last play. This one lose 3 points. Coming from SAVOUGE.
Clearly a violation there, and another tied ball game. Caritativo got to that one. Caritativo with a block. They go to the middle. Back set this time.
That's a miss.
That's out though from Gampong. Everything but the final kick.
Yes. Wide open. At the right pin. As UST dodge a bullet. Stops a 2-point run. Restores a 1-point edge.
To the middle.
And this is where the veterans are so good. Caritativo and Torres. When push comes to shove, they are at their best. What about Marneto? As a veteran, libero at play, hard at work.
Just using the blockers there for that point.
17 points we mentioned earlier in their first encounter against SAVOUGE at 13 of 30. Rey Miguel de Vega had 15 points on 15 of 38 against FPU in that reverse sweep win over their nemesis from Moraita.
Caritativo once again, but that time the defense was ready for it.
Of the block point for the Golden Spikers.
Now it's a 2-point lead opened up here by UST.
Showing their true character after dropping the first or the second set handily. What a rebound performance for the Golden Spikers.
Caritativo denied. Sanama is in. That's smart. That's going to bring us to our second technical timeout here in the third. And it's a 3-point lead enjoyed by UST. Welcome back to the Smart Araneta Coliseum for this battle between SAVOUGE and UST as we open the semifinals here. Anthony Sutay together with Coach Ronnie Magsanok for the coverage.
The first of 5 straight play days, showcasing 15 straight games until November 27.
Caritativo gets that through, but once again the defense is there. Great defense here from both these squads. That one will go out. And a challenge is going to be issued here by SAVOUGE. They felt that clipped the line. Really hard for them to be able to say from that particular spot, but they did have some players down that particular line. Let's see how much it compressed. But again, there wasn't really too much speed on that ball. That's why that was a call usually that our lineman will make. And it's a good call there.
That's half a spin out. Up 3, down 2. That was UST. Now down 2, a 4 in a 6-point turnaround. Imposed against SAVOUGE.
Linesman saying, I told you.
Now they need another wing spiker really to deliver. Betko has been off. Sonama finally able to deliver a critical point. Can they overcome a 3-point deficit?
That's the big question. They were up big in set number 2. That was a dominating performance. Right now, they're struggling here. But they're going to pick up the point there, courtesy of Calado.
And again, when the going gets tough, the veterans have to be able to step forward and say, we'll take over.
Another serve from Caritativo. That one straight to Dionis.
Has to be better at this stage. Jonas and Marmeto. No long rallies, really. Just quick exchange of points.
And that might have gone out. But again, you have to make these split-second decisions. Calado denied.
Wow, wow, wow.
That was Yambao one-on-one.
No block in set 2. At least 2 here in set 3. Up 3, down 2. Up 4 at 19-15. Tremendous turnaround here, imposed by UST.
Gampong is back. Sanama to the bench. Quick play works.
Torres again strikes. Caritativo with that reception. Deeper into the rotation. Goes Coach Calderon. The UST's depth has proven to be a key edge for them up to this point of the semis.
Calado comes up with a block of his own.
Imagine losing 3 key players, yet able to beat FEU and stay ahead of SAVOUGE.
Nice scrambling here from both these squads. That one's going to be out, though. Are they going to say it was checked?
They said it was clean. Cleanly out.
And that
Clearly
lead
out.
of 3 is now just down to 1, Coach.
That's right.
We're tied.
The pressure is on. Experience setting in. Tied at 19. Another nail biter here in set 3. Simple serve.
Dito ka, Gab, ha? Dito mo papaloy si Gab. Ito, dito. Meron ka dito. Okay? Ha? Oo nga, nasa unahan ka, di ba? Ito ka, di ba? Oh. Ayan ka, ayan si Gab. Ito si Gab. Hindi, tayo. Andito ka, andito si Gab.
Ito yung blocker, setter naman.
Ito si middle to, natin. Oh, ito gagawin mo. Ayan, dito si Gab. Ito dito. Ito, bibigyan mo gitna.
Okay, let's go, let's go!
Go! Maliit yung blocker. Sige, higit mo. Let's go! Pero, bago magawa yun,
This is going to be a sprint to 6. Unless we go into another extended set, similar to what happened in set number 1, which went all the way to 27-25.
Oh!
No question about that one. That was long.
Straight errors for UST.
That's gotta hurt coming off a timeout.
And as they say, you can't get too comfortable or else it backfires. What about Torres? Sprinkling his service on different points of the court. All effective, making the right calls. Down by 4, up by 2. What more can I say? We talk about momentum swings and lead changes. It's all about the semis. It's all about facing the pressure and embracing the challenges.
They get to it.
And Narciso scores.
Wow!
And
What a
Narciso
turnaround
scores.
here.
Experience, composure. Look at the reaction of Coach Sidney Calderon. Balukong down is now a pinch of happiness. What about Torres, who's been at the service line for the longest time?
Comes up with another good one. Comes up with a dig there. Calado sets. That's going to get through.
Still alive. Finally a side out for UST.
They needed that one. They badly needed that.
SAVOUGE answered the question, can they overcome that huge deficit? They did. Now, can UST replicate what they did in that set 1 win? Still this set away from back-to-back bronze medal finisher, the spin doctors of SAVOUGE.
SAVOUGE can actually just play side-out volleyball here. That time, they got denied.
They went to Reyes, who was wide open.
Timeout called by Coach Sidney.
Oh, guys. Alagaan lang natin yung isa. Alagaan lang natin yung isa, ha? Huwag tayong masyadong pagbalik natin dyan, gawin lang natin yung tama, ha? Okay naman, nakakabawi na tayo, maganda na yung ginagawa natin. Huwag lang natin sila bigyan ng momentum, ha? Sa atin to, tara, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Hey, Bante! That is the final timeout for Coach Sidney. Still a 2-point lead, enjoyed by their squad. Mandal is back. They go to the middle.
Oh,
And Reyes able to stretch out for that one. That was close.
yeah, still not the best possible hit coming from Reyes, but enough to beat the defense of UST. And Narciso goes to Reyes for that quick play.
That was a full stretch, Coach.
Yes, indeed. Pinabawi ni Narciso to Reyes who delivers. Yan, makakahinga ka na mas maayos.
Tama yun.
Kanina mapapalunok ka na eh.
Tama yung sinabi mo, Coach. It's kept alive. Gampong. Doug. Bump set. That's wide.
Again, the cross-court cut coming from Momandal. But this time it will not connect. He was so good to open up this set.
That's the specialty of Umandal. No challenge, but a timeout here called by Coach Mape.
Paluin mo. Huwag mo i-drop. Ha? Wala problemang basta paluin mo na malakas sa ibabaw. Huwag masyado iwas. Ha? Sobrang lihis eh. Nakaka-receive tayo, may receive tayo. O pag-receive natin, nasa unahan ka. O be quick, doon ka, dito, G-boy, gitna ka sa ha? 5. O yun, o. Okay? Sige lang. Let's go, tara. Go guys, sabay tayo! Kapit tayo.
Can you believe it?
This has been one topsy-turvy set. Let's just put it that way.
Talk about roller coaster ride. be the pivotal set as well.
That's right. Back set, Umandal this time goes down the line.
Excellent.
He says no more cross courts.
Excellent first ball. Umandal saving one set point.
But this is it. This is the big point now coming from UST to stay alive.
Going back to that first set loss, imagine if SAVOUGE won that set.
That's right.
They were up by a set point, but lost traction of that one set point.
On the brink of taking that set, but here they now take a 2-set-to-1 advantage, coach.
That's more like it for Reyes and Narciso, keeping the faith in Reyes, who closes the door and gives his team a one-set edge. Back-to-back sets pocketed by SAVOUGE after dropping an extended first set. This is it, says SAVOUGE. Could be disastrous if we go down by a set once again against a team that loves to play marathon matches. Coming off a 5-set win against FPU, UST wants to drag this match into the longest match possible. And they had SAVOUGE on their heels at least twice in this set. And things were looking so good for UST early on. But SAVOUGE, to the efforts of Caritativo and Narciso, and of course, Gals Torres, making sure that Mark Alado's efforts would not go for naught. Down by 3, up by 2, down by 4, but winning by this much in a 7-point turnaround late in set number 3. UST once again hurt by more error count, and even if they had more blocks after not having any at all in that set 2 loss, they will come up short, as Narciso had the better of Yambao in their personal duel, and of course Calado's scoring explosion also helped out SAVOUGE big time in that 3rd set win versus UST.
Here we go, set number 4. Oh, we've seen crazy things here so far
in this game.
Yes, because as you have mentioned, UST is actually a very slow starter, but they were able to sneak out with a win.
Right.
And now let's see if this is where they really come up with their best game in sets 4 and 5. And they need to get it done, or else we're going to end in 4. That's what SAVOUGE wants. As you said, it's back-to-back encounters here in the semifinals. So important for SAVOUGE to be able to win as quickly as they possibly can and start to rest and recover.
Right. Because you will play the next in 48 hours. Every other day. 5 games in 10 days. And then you play for the battle for the bronze and the gold on November 29th.
Calado gets things off on a right note for his squad. They want to set the tone and set the tone early.
Jump the gun. SAVOUGE beat UST in 4 sets. The first time that these two teams met. That was October 31st.
Dionis gets to that one. Caritativo goes high and clearly.
Excellent communication.
2-0.
Donis Caritativo showing teamwork, backpedaling and attacking.
Well, no question that was checked. They needed that one.
Oh yes.
UST needed to get right back into this.
You're talking about someone who played so well against FEU. That's Trevor Valera, who had 16 points to be the top scorer for UST in that 5-set win versus FEU. But so far here, very quiet. Is that Reyes again?
Yes. Reyes has not come up with the most convincing of hits.
Except for the final point.
Except
in
for the
set three.
final point, correct. But nonetheless, he got that one. Watch it here once again.
He's the tallest, he's the longest, and Narciso trusts Reyes to get the job done.
3-1 is our tally.
But no lead is safe.
Oh, that's for sure. And we saw that. And Narciso was able to get to that one.
Luckily, Reyes was not able to touch that last hit. Or did he?
I think there's going to be a challenge. They felt he did.
Block touch, that's what they said. Spin doctor saying there was none. But let's check.
And Coach Sidney saying to Reyes, did you get in? Did you get it? Oh, they're not going to look at what Reyes did. So they're going to look at the action on the net. Yes. They might get away with this one.
You can imagine what goes through the minds of our technical unit in charge of the reviews.
Here it is. The finger came in just a little late. Not enough. So an unsuccessful challenge. Just one more challenge remaining here.
Completely different start here for SAVOUGE after falling behind by 3 points to open up set 3. But here in set 4, has scored consecutive points.
And Coach, SAVOUGE has actually shown that they like playing ahead, because that's what happened in the second set. They were up by 3, they were up by 4. Next thing you know, they were up by 9.
But proving that they can also come from behind the way they did in set 3.
Boom! Tries to get to that one. That'll go back over. And a violation from Mumandal, no question about that one.
One thing you like about Gals Torres is his timing. The vision on the ball and the timing.
Another good serve by Reyes. And he might be serving once again. Maybe not. Let's see.
Yes,
he will.
6-1 edge.
It is a 5-point lead here, Coach.
And that's a big one.
They need this timeout badly.
Nawala ang receive, nawala. Nung nagka-receive, ang palo, puro palabas. Wala, ayaw nyo, bilisan nyo lang yung kamay nyo.
Let's go, guys.
Okay? Organize kayo. Sige, isa-isa lang.
Kita tayo, usap lang tayo, please, para magkaintindihan tayo. Dito nagkakaintindihan.
Labang kuya. Kanya-kanya.
Back to the action here. This is set number 4. Up 2-1 are the Spin Doctors, looking to pick up their first victory here in the semifinal round.
What about the Magic Bunot still at the service line? Reyes.
And still at the service line.
Suddenly, it's the best server for SAVOUGE.
Everybody saying, keep it going, keep it going.
That is exactly the confidence level that has spiked after nailing the final point in that set 3 win.
Comes up another serve. And finally, they're going to have a rotation.
And the side out finally comes for UST.
Still, it's a 7-2 advantage.
Delicana, we don't hear his name anymore. He was the top scorer for UST in the first 2 sets.
Quick back set. That is stopped though. But the attack will not come to its fruition. 8-2 early on here in set number 4.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Spikers Turf Invitational Conference 2025. As he slightly injured his ankle from last game, Raymark Bepco of the SAVOUGE Spin Doctors will be given limited playing time for now. Sabi rin niya sa akin kanina, wala daw siyang laro. So for now, he'll just cheer for his kuyas and ates from the sidelines. And another vocal queen is also cheering from the sidelines for now is Loisa Gamban. You know, Loisa is going on a back and forth affair, not on the court, but from the bench to the audience as she cheers alongside the SAVOUGE fans. But she also said she trusts na kahit sino naman sa teammates niya lalaban at gagana. And the least both Raymark and Loisa can do for now is show up and show support for the SAVOUGE Spin Doctors. But for now, back to you, Anthony and Coach Ronnie.
Thanks a lot, May. Well, you can see SAVOUGE looking good here, looking to pick up victory number 1 in the semis.
That's Gamban, of course. So earlier on your screen, so everybody will get their chance.
Another poor serve.
That won't help. They had 36 errors. First time that they met. That's 36 of the 98 points of SAVOUGE given up by UST.
They look like they're coming apart at the seams here.
Against FU, they had 39 errors, by the way. Yet they won in 5 sets.
Calado mistiming his jump.
And Narciso's excellent play has disallowed Imperial from returning in this match after starting out set 1 and helping SAVOUGE. Were ahead by a set point, but eventually dropped that first set.
Much better serve. Not the strongest of attacks from Calado.
Oh, that
timed
scores.
this
Oh
jump.
My.
Wow.
What a Narciso.
Well, it worked.
What was it, Torres again? Big game for Torres. Calado expected, caritativo, constant, but Torres has been a difference maker.
That gets through, but Caritativo not able to control that one.
What about
It's already in all fours.
Adjustment coming from Delicana. That set was too wide. But Delicana loses offhand.
Here comes UST trying to make a run here.
4-2 run coming from UST. And as they say, it's not over until it's over.
That was well placed.
Right, better play.
Calado just saw that spot, said, okay, thank you.
Good pass coming from Marmeto. Redeeming himself after that miscue earlier. A shot that Caritativo and Calado mastered.
Not a good serve. But a good reception, and starting to get their groove right now is UST and Katinsag. Calado once again. He timed that one perfectly. Well,
14 points for Calado heading to this set. De Vega meanwhile with 13, Delicana with 11, Umandal with 9.
Shall we try to get to that one just out of his reach? Mandal will just send that one over. A chance here. They go back to the pin, and using the blocker there is Gampong.
Lost opportunity for UST. And giving up free balls at this stage is a big no-no for the Golden Spikers. Because in transition, Gampong will not miss for the second straight time.
That'll work. Katinsag is going to pick up his second point here in the fourth. So Austria is back. That's going to get over. So many times that's happened already today, and all in favor of UST. Most of the time we saw that happen in set number 1. Now they're going to pick up an ace here in the fourth to draw within 3.
4-point barrier has been breached.
Katinsag once again. Denial there at the net. Once again.
That's more like it. It's a big stop.
It is a huge stop.
Down to 2.
This is the closest that UST has come.
It's a rare one against Torres.
And they go right back to Torres.
Score stood earlier at 8-2. SAVOUGE with a 6-point edge. Since that time, 9 points for UST, 6 points for SAVOUGE. So near yet so far.
Gampong now with a serve. That attack slowed down. A chance here. They go to Caritativo.
A single coverage against Caritativo will not get it done.
Oh, definitely. That was like an insult to him.
Isolated in that so incredible job. What about Torres once again extracting 2 blockers on the opposite side?
Caritativo saying, you must be kidding.
Mandal gets one back also in double figures. Delicana, De Vega, and Mandal leading the scoring for UST. For a team which has no Josh Ibanez, no Sally, no Makam. And no Coach Oji Maman.
That is right. Part of the coaching staff of Alas. Easily put down there by Shawi. It's our second technical timeout here and a 4-point advantage enjoyed by the Spin Doctors. The first ever FIFA Futsal Women's World Cup is happening from November 21 to December 7 at the Ville Sports Arena in Pasig City. Visit FIFA.com/tickets for more details, or you can watch it live via the Pilipinas Live app, One Sports, One Sports Plus, and RPTV. Almost an ace. Coming in is Calado. Coach Sidney giving him just a short breather.
That's the reason why. It's all about closing out time. When we talk about closing out, this is where the veterans are at their best.
Jonas gets to that one. They go to the middle. They're going to reset. Calado once again. They weren't on the same page that time.
Look at the reaction of Coach Sidney. Maybe a net touch. Maybe. It was just a 2-point edge at 13-11. But SAVOUGE coming up with a 4-1 run.
But no more challenge here because our first referee changed the call. Gave the point here to SAVOUGE.
And they restore a 6-point edge. 5-1 run generated by Caritativo, Torres, Calado, and Narciso.
At the same time, Coach, the serving here of SAVOUGE has been much better.
Indeed.
After that poor start. Gampong will just send it over. Gonna try to thrust their defense.
What a play by Calado. Tight.
That one is going to sneak through.
That was setter Yambao. That answers the question of May earlier posed at us. Setter or spiker?
Well, spiker that time.
That stops a 3-point run for SAVOUGE. Cuts the lead to 5. Does UST have one more push in its arsenal? Oh my. Oh my.
Well, Coach Sidney just smiling there on the sides.
As of now.
Okay. Let's see when that becomes a look of concern.
What a play by Narciso. Wow. Over-received. Look at the extension and display. Tremendous serve coming from UST. Rescued it last play. And Torres once again. Masterful stroke at that spot. Almost unstoppable today.
That is right. That's still good, they say. Will it be challenged? Automatically, it'll be challenged, they say. So they're saying that it was down. That is what UST is hoping. And it was right. What UST and the coaching staff saw, it was down. That's going to be double.
And this is major concern. From 1914 to 1916, lead down to 3.
Expect a timeout if they lose this one. And they do.
4 straight points. Up 6. Now, ahead by just 2.
Walang matataranta, tayo yung nasa momentum. Kailangan lang natin ng stop. Anong sabi ko kanina, let's play side out, side out. Basta wag na natin pahabulin yan. Pagbalik natin dyan mamaya, JC, stop tayo kagad. To, tumulong ka, kaya ka pinasok dyan para tumulong ka. Oh, let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's go.
Let's see if they can dig down and use that vast experience of theirs.
James Cruz has been at the service line for a while, and that is with reason. Did not score in their first meeting. Did not play in their first meeting, talking about Cruz.
Calado, his attack slowed down. A chance once again for UST to come even closer, but that attack goes long. That will hurt.
Indeed. Wide open for Delicana. Yes. Stops a 4-point run.
That was huge.
That
should have been their point.
Talk about diffusing tension.
NRC not able to get that one over. Drawing to within 2 once again is UST.
You can see NRC breathing heavily at this stage.
Will they give him a breather? Yambao first with the serve. No question about that attack from Calado. He made absolutely sure.
At this stage, risk-taking may not be an option right now for SAVOUGE. Yes, it may backfire for them in the end. 3 ahead, 4 away from closing out this match.
UST needs this one. That's a smart play. Katinsag has really done so well here in the 4th.
Katinsag beating Reyes at the net. This was pancake. This was not safe. This angled tip.
That's a good reception. Caritativo. Dug though. And UST is going to pick up this point. And the lead is down to just 1.
From 2017. 3-1 late run here. Generated by UST. They just keep fighting back.
Coach Calderon doesn't want to use their final timeout. Not just yet. One of the few times Reyes was denied. To the other side,
a big one by
Gampong delivers.
Keeping the faith in Mats Gampong. Caritativo, alanganin. Calado, pipe play. Gampong wide open at the right pin. Good choice coming from Narciso.
Can he get back to his golden serves? Gampong once again. What a chance here. Not the best of sets. A chance once again. Back to Gampong. And they're going to run out of space. Talking about UST.
Chance ball coming from UST. That proved to be their undoing. 2 straight points for SAVOUGE. Up 3 at this stage.
Ito gawin mo ha. Punta mo dyan, dito ka. Dito ka, Pogi. Meron dito, tas meron dito. Sino nandito? Si Gab. Okay? G-Boy dito. So ang gagawin niya dito, pipik yan yan, backwick ka. Ha? Backwick ito. Dito ang single.
Trabaho.
Kailangan madala mo yung middle para mag-single block. Gab, ready ka. Pag nadala yung middle, pwede kayong dalawa.
Sira, pre.
23-20 here in the fourth.
For the first win here in the semis. Okay,
This
to
is
get the
our-
match point.
Exactly. This is our opening match here in the semifinal round of the Invitational. And that is going to bring us to set point, match point.
Excellent anticipation on the part of the Spin Doctors. Kampong has been very helpful. Look at the closing part of this fourth set. 4 match points for SAVOUGE.
Umandal keeps UST alive.
3 straight points after the score stood at 21-20. That stops at 3-point run.
Final timeout now here, called by SAVOUGE.
Badge, habol ka kunyari daw. Ibitin lang natin, ha? O, sige, dulo na natin. Isa dito, Shaw. Dulawi. Ako, dito ako. Biyak lang, biyak. So, unuhan na. So, unuhan na. O, isang pasa lang, pare, commit ka.
Yan, ikaw na pala yan.
Pasan na ni BFF.
Kaliwa lang, kaliwa.
What's it?
Pasan namin ni Rico. Shaw, patay sa Rico.
So they've done away with the wave play.
For next game, probably. They waved it away.
24-21 is our tally here.
Again, is it the veteran experience against the resilience and youth? The banner line for this match.
Big serve first for Katinsag. Another one clips the net. Caritativo will push it to the end. Katinsag was there. And that's it.
Outstanding sequence. What a way to come out on top. Tested. Push to the limit. Under heels. But SAVOUGE, once again, tremendous character shown, able to survive the fearless unit of UST. Extracting, or rather showing their mastery against UST as they have beaten the Golden Spikers 2 times already here, this Invitational Conference.
But despite the fact that UST, without a lot of their key players, they still made a game out of this one. It was close all throughout except for that second set. SAVOUGE picks up their first victory here in the semis. We'll be back to wrap things up in a bit.
Back inside the Big Dome, you're still watching the Spikers Turf Invitational Conference where power meets passion. The SAVOUGE Aesthetic Spin Doctors defeating the UST Gameville Golden Spikers in 4 sets. I have here with me our best player of the game from the SAVOUGE Spin Doctors. What's your name?
Gilles Torres.
Yes, there you go. Gilles, congratulations. You were able to have 16 big points. So I want to know, gaano ka-importante itong panalong ito, especially as you build your momentum here in the semifinals?
Sobrang importante kasi first game ng semi, so kailangan good start yung magiging run namin ngayong semifinals. So thank God kasi nakuha naman namin yung first win namin.
Yes. This is the second time na nanalo kayo sa UST, pero dito na sa semis, gusto ko malaman ano yung mga adjustments na ginawa ninyo, especially after nyo matalo ng first set.
Siguro yung naging adjustment namin is yung enjoyment namin dun sa loob ng court. Kasi nung first set is sobrang stiff. Parang ang hirap gumalaw sa loob ng court, parang nangangapa. Siguro kasi parang first time ulit maglaro dito sa Aranete.
Yes.
And ayun naman, buti naka-adjust kami nung second set.
Again, Gilles Torres, may mga gusto ko pang pasalamatan, family, friends, fans, go ahead.
Binabati ko yung family ko sa Isabela. Si Mama and yung kapatid ko, si Queen. Yung kapatid ko na si Brex na nasa Batangas, ingat ka lagi dyan. And yung ate ko na nasa Baguio, ingat ka lagi dyan.
Again, our best player of the game, Gilles Torres from SAVOUGE. And there you have it. Now, back to you, Anthony and Coach Ronnie.
Right now, let's take a look at the match highlights of set number 4.
Let's talk about jumping the gun on UST. Exactly what SAVOUGE was able to do. As we reached the first technical timeout, they were ahead at 8-2 because of plays such as those which you saw earlier for the Spin Doctors.
Couple of scary moments here
In the end part.
and Coach Sidney was able to use their timeouts as properly as possible, and in the end they'll pick up this 3-1 victory.
And eventually the undoing of UST, once again the penchant for committing errors. And some of those errors happened in the end game that proved to be disastrous as they were only behind at 21-20, but eventually lost those much-needed points that saved the day for the Spin Doctors, who will nail their first win here in the semifinals and will deal UST its first loss here in the semis.
Don't go away. Coming up next is Kindai University up against Pro Volley Academy. That's going to do it here for our first game coverage. And behalf of my partner, Coach Ronnie Magsanok, Anthony Sutay saying thanks for joining us, everybody. Till next time, take care. Have a good weekend ahead. God bless.